Wow, we don't sell street trash here. Try somewhere cheaper.
The heavy glass doors of Aurelian Lux parted with a silent, pressurized hiss, letting a swirl of city air into the climate-controlled sanctuary. Sienna stepped onto the white marble floor, the soles of her worn sneakers silent against the stone. Her oversized gray hoodie was a canvas of its own, splattered with dried cerulean and ochre paint, and her hair was gathered into a messy bun that defied gravity. Across the showroom, standing beneath a cascading crystal chandelier, Sloane adjusted her gold heels. Her eyes narrowed as she took in the intruder, her blonde ponytail swinging like a golden pendulum. Sloane didn't wait for a greeting. She moved with predatory grace, her gold heels clicking rhythmically against the marble like a ticking clock. She stopped exactly 3 feet away, her nose wrinkling as she surveyed Sienna's attire. To Sloane, the boutique was a cathedral of high fashion, and this woman was a smudge on its pristine altar. She smoothed the lapel of her designer blazer, her diamond-encrusted watch catching the light as she checked the time, clearly annoyed by the interruption to her morning. "I think you've lost your way," Sloane said, her voice dripping with a rehearsed icy politeness. She didn't look Sienna in the eye. She looked at the paint stains on her sleeve. "The thrift shop is 3 blocks down, past the alleyways. We don't stock street trash here." Sienna didn't flinch. She simply tilted her head, her gaze wandering to the exquisite silk gowns and tailored suits that lined the walls. A small, knowing smirk played at the corner of her mouth, though she remained silent. Sienna reached out a hand, her fingers hovering near the sleeve of a limited edition velvet coat. Before she could touch the fabric, Sloane stepped forward, physically blocking her path. "Do not touch the merchandise," Sloane hissed, her composure finally cracking into genuine anger. "That coat costs more than you likely make in a decade. Look at your hands. You're covered in filth. You're going to ruin the inventory of a house you couldn't possibly understand." Sloane leaned in closer, her voice dropping to a harsh, cutting whisper. "Are you deaf? Or just incredibly slow? I told you to leave. People like you don't belong in a place like this. You're an eyesore, and frankly, you're making the real clients uncomfortable, even if they aren't here yet to see you." She looked around the empty store, as if expecting an audience to applaud her cruelty. Her heels clicked aggressively as she shifted her weight, waiting for the girl in the hoodie to run away in shame. Sienna didn't move. Instead, she leaned around Sloane to get a better look at the hem of the velvet coat. She had spotted a microscopic flaw in the embroidery, a tiny stray thread that only a master creator would ever notice. She realized the Milan workshop had rushed the final stitch. The silence stretched between the two women, becoming a heavy physical presence in the room. Sienna's smirk deepened. She wasn't looking at the price tag, but at the soul of the work itself. Sloane had reached her limit. She pulled a small, sleek radio from her waistband, her knuckles white. "I'm calling security to have you escorted out and trespassed," she snapped, her thumb hovering over the call button. "You had your chance to leave quietly. Now, you can leave in handcuffs. Do you have anything to say for yourself, or are you going to keep standing there like a statue in your rags?" Sienna finally reached into her hoodie pocket. She didn't pull out a phone or a wallet. She pulled out a heavy matte black card embossed with a gold phoenix, the private seal of the brand's founder and creative director. She held it up between 2 fingers, the gold emblem catching the light of the chandelier. "The tension on the third needle of the embroidery machine in the Milan workshop is off by 0.5 millimeter, Sienna said, her voice low, steady, and commanding. "I came in to see if it was visible on the final pieces. It is." The radio slipped from Sloane's hand, clattering loudly onto the marble floor. Her face went pale, the blood draining away as she recognized the emblem, a symbol only the highest-level executives and the reclusive owner herself possessed. "You," Sloane stammered, her voice trembling and weak, "Miss Aurelian? I didn't know. I thought you were—" The arrogance had vanished, replaced by a cold, paralyzing dread as she realized the magnitude of her mistake. Sienna tucked the card back into her paint-stained pocket and adjusted her messy bun. "I prefer to create in clothes I can get dirty in, Sloane. It reminds me that beauty comes from hard work, not just from wearing an expensive blazer." She turned toward the door, then paused, her voice like velvet-wrapped steel. "Pack your things. You're right about one thing. Someone doesn't belong in this temple of perfection." But it isn't me. Sienna walked out into the sunlight, leaving Sloane standing in a silence that was finally perfectly broken.